This Urban Legends 98 presents Hauntings from Around the World Episode 4, The Tower of London, a tale from London, England. With her head tucked underneath her arm, she walks the bloody tower, with her head tucked underneath her arm, at the midnight hour. This is a part of a ghoulish song referring to Anne Boleyn, one of the most enduring ghosts of the bloody Tower of London. In 1536, her husband, Henry VIII, sentenced her to death after he grew tired of her inability to bear him a son. Her headless body haunts the White Tower and has terrified many a sentry out of his wits. In 1864, one such sentry spied the ghostly apparition, her head tucked underneath her arm, and challenged her with his bayonet. The weapon passed straight through her, causing the brave man to collapse in fear. A 19th century account of an Anne Boleyn sighting by a guard reads as follows. Slowly down the aisle moved a stately procession of knights and ladies, attired in ancient costumes, and in front walked an elegant female whose face was averted from him, but whose figure greatly resembled the one he had seen in the reputed portraits of Anne Boleyn. After having repeatedly paced the chapel, the entire procession, together with the light, disappeared. Excerpt from Ghostly Visitors, London, 1882. The dark walls of the Tower of London have borne witness to centuries of brutality and treachery. It is little wonder it has become one of the most foreboding buildings in Britain. Commissioned by William the Conqueror in 1078 and completed almost 20 years later, the fortress represented a bastion of Norman power and towered 90 feet above the city. The White Tower has changed little from that time, but around 20 other towers and buildings from different periods in history have grown around it. Many of the towers held prison cells and torture chambers where numerous poor souls expired in misery. Tower Green was reserved for royal executions, while all other traitors were put to death on the Tower Hill. Hundreds of executions were carried out here, their victims ranging from petty thieves to claimants of the throne. Although often used as a royal residence, it was during the reign of Henry VIII that the Tower of London became regularly used as a prison. The tower now boasts some of the most famous and unfortunate ghosts in British history. The earliest recorded sighting of a ghost of the tower was that of St. Thomas Becket in the 13th century. Thomas Becket was Chancellor of England and Archbishop of Canterbury. His illustrious career ended following an argument with Henry II and his subsequent murder by the Knights of the Court. Sir Walter Raleigh, the famous seafaring explorer, was beheaded at the tower in 1618. At his execution he asked to see the axe and observed, "This is a sharp medicine, but is a physician for all diseases." His ghost makes an appearance now and again, wandering freely around the tower, as he did when he was imprisoned. Raleigh had not been as restricted in his movements as other prisoners. His ghost was last seen as recently as 1983 by a yeoman guard in the Byward Tower. The bloody scene of the bungled execution of Lady Salisbury in 1541 is said to be reenacted every year on the anniversary of her death. She refused to place her head on the executioner's block and was chased by the axeman, who eventually hacked her to death. The tower has played host to countless heinous acts, but maybe none as tragic as the murders of the two young princes in the tower. Edward V, aged 12, and Richard, Duke of York, aged 10, were imprisoned by their uncle, the Duke of Gloucester, who was plotting to become king. In 1483, soon after he was crowned King Richard III, the ghostly figures of the two young princes were seen gliding down the stairs of the tower. 200 years later, workmen found a chest containing the skeletons of two young children, thought to be the dusty remains of the princes. They were given a royal burial, and their ghosts were seen no more. The Tower of London is one of Britain's most important historical buildings. A 1,000-year history is imprisoned behind its walls. Its rich, bloody history and brooding nature have fascinated and horrified countless visitors. Thanks for watching. Sorry the video was late. I'm going to have an announcement for the contest tomorrow. So keep watching, comment, subscribe, and visit my Facebook page and my Twitter page. Special thanks to Allison Rattle and Allison Vale for this awesome book, Hell House, where the story was based on.